Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
I am so excited for this one. I actually did not invite Sam. I told you he couldn't make it. He doesn't even know about. No, I'm just joking. But Luke Taylor here, back. Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience. This one hits home. This one hits hard. We are talking MAC basketball with Kent State head men's basketball coach, Coach Senderoff, and back again, Miami, Ohio head coach Travis Steele. The Red Hawks, or as I like to call them, the Redskins. I go way back. I mean, you think about the MAC basketball, you think about so many great players. You got George Irvin, Wally Zerbiak, Gary Trent, the list goes on. And it's going to be another exciting year for the MAC. So, coaches, welcome to the Full Court Press Podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Coach Steele, you're not going to say anything?
I let Coach Senderoff.
I love your decoration.
That's my guy. So, no, we appreciate you having us on.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I mean, there's always so much drama in the MAC basketball conference. And, you guys are going to be in the thick of things this year. I guess tell me a little bit about, I don't want to talk about the offseason because there is no more offseason in college basketball. Tell me about the first couple weeks of initial practices. How's it been going for you, Coach Senderoff? Then I'll ask you that same question, Coach Steele.
Yeah, well, it's great to get back in the gym with your guys, right? Because as you mentioned, the off season is so long, and then the summer is so, it never stops. So to be able to actually coach and be on the court and in the gym with your whole team, trying to get better as a group and see improvement daily, watch film, go through that grind that the season is, it's a lot of fun. I think we're 10 practices in and getting ready to do a little training camp that we do every year for a weekend, and just excited about, games coming up here soon and getting a chance to test ourselves against other folks.
Yeah. What about you, Coach Steele?
Yeah, I think it's just fun seeing what you got. It's and especially in this landscape that we're in, right? There is a lot of turnover, new players coming in. You got freshmen, you got transfers, hopefully have some retention. I think that's obviously critically important to success right now in today's landscape, and try to see what you got. It's the always say, I tell our guys this, it's when you hop on the 94x50, it's the best 2 hours or however long of the entire day. We don't have to deal with any meetings. We don't have to deal with any other, class. It's just like, man, we get to coach basketball, play basketball, and what an honor and privilege that is to be able to represent Miami, to be able to represent the MAC. So it's been going good so far. I like the progress our team's made so far.
Yeah. So how do you guys, in today's day in a college basketball landscape with the transfer portal and NIL so prevalent right in our faces as we speak about it, how do you guys continue to develop culture?
Trav, you can start that one.
Yeah. I would say obviously retention is very important. Can you have some guys returning? I think that know what your DNA is, right? And they can help teach the new guys, the incoming transfers or incoming freshmen. That's so important. But I also think you got to recruit to your DNA, right? Like we don't deviate. I don't care how talented a guy is. If they don't fit us, we're not going to mess with them. And same thing like in the portal, like we brought in four guys from the transfer portal, for example. And it is a little bit like speed dating, they're quicker recruitments, and that's the one area you can't miss on as far as the culture piece. So we only recruit guys out of the portal that we know or have a relationship with, previous to them hopping into the portal. Did Christian Smith on our staff know him or Jonathan Holmes? Maybe we recruited him before and maybe we didn't get him on the front end, but we can get him on the back end. Something like that is critically important because the guys in your locker room make up your culture. The words on the wall mean nothing unless they're living it out every single day. So I think just figuring out that fit piece is extremely important.
Yeah. What about you, Coach Senderoff? I mean, you've been there for 126 years now at Kent State. You're the longest tenured coach in the history of the MAC. But, how do you keep it going? Because every year, I mean, you could have, like last year, you were really riddled with injuries. I mean, I live in Northeastern Ohio. You had some players out. I mean, almost made it to the NCAA tournament. That's how ridiculous the MAC is. It's really one weekend in March. But how do you continue to build on that at Kent State, which you've developed?
Yeah, again, because I've been here so long, what's expected and what's required, I guess, to be a good player here. It's happened for a number of guys already. We've been here a long time, and then on my staff right now, we're now having 6 guys on staff total, and 4 of those 6 played at Kent. So having coaches that have also been a part of it. As a player and now as a coach, for me, that makes it, I don't want to use the word easy because it's not easy because you're fighting every day to keep your culture. And Trav made a great point that, all the words, the slogans and logos, like it's about the people in the locker room, and the culture can change very, very quickly if you don't have the right people in the locker room. So we're all fighting for that every day. Every coach is, that's what we're all doing. Daily. But when you have guys that, when you do have returners, it helps. When you've been at a place for as long as I have, that part of it is easier for me in terms of what's expected and what's required. And then I have a number of guys who have actually done that as players here now working on our staff as coaches. I think that all leads into it and helps. But it's something that we work for every day.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because if you look at the conference as a whole, especially with being one of my favorite mid majors personally, is kind of the retention of how many good players are coming back. You look at Toledo, Javen Simmons is coming back. I mean, Coach Steele, you've got Elmer, who I think is really going to just like have a great year. Kent State, I mean, you got Vaughn Cameron Davis, and you got the Jalen Sullinger. You look at what Coach Boyles has at OU. He's got Sharif Mitchell, Aiden Hadaway, and AJ Clayton. I mean, what were those conversations? And then Akron with Nate Johnson and many other guys, a part of those teams. What were those kind of conversations like right after the season? Because like you said, it's speed dating. You got to find out who's coming back. I mean, from your guys' level, what was that like in March?
Yeah, those are tough weeks, and 2 of the guys you mentioned for us, Vaughn Cameron Davis went into the portal for a week. And Jalen Sullinger actually left and went to another school, and then asked to come back in August, and he's not on scholarship here this year because we didn't have any scholarships when he decided he wanted to come back to Kent. But I had a number of returning guys, Claron Hornbeek, who was a starter, Mike Bakelja, a number of guys who did come back. And the quicker, you can find out what everybody's plans are, the easier it is for you as a coach, whether you like the plans that they're making or don't like the plans that they're making. And at the end of the day, I'll just speak for me on this one. Like, we're going to do the best we can do for our players here at Kent, give them the best experience we can give them here at Kent, and hope that, that they don't want to leave, because certainly at this level, I think, and Trav, right now, you mentioned Elmer, who's now a sophomore, like, to be a really good player in this league, I'll use Vaughn Cameron Davis. He was Mr. Basketball in the state of Ohio. He's the only Mr. Basketball to ever play at Kent. Trav was the coach at Xavier in Vaughn's first game, and he played 30 seconds total in the game and came out because, in my opinion, I may have been wrong, but he wasn't ready to help us at that point. Vaughn's, the fact that he stuck it through freshman, sophomore year, all of those years, and then chose to return for his 5th year here at Kent. Knock on wood, he stays healthy. He'll play the most games in the history of the school. Those stories allow you to, for your other kids to maintain, a level of program. And When you mention Elmer, I think he's going to be one of the better players in the league, certainly better sophomores who had experience as a freshman. Now him coming back, again, I'm not with Coach Steele every day to know, but him coming back now, you get to see, him grow and develop as a player.
Right. And I think that's important, especially when you're trying to take, I hate saying that next step. I think that's kind of just a interesting comment, but he's ready to kind of take off. And I remember having this conversation with you last year, Coach Steele, with Sam after. I'm like, man, he's got a lot of freshmen, and that's pretty I hate to say this, ballsy way to go in the NIL and transfer portal, but you're obviously doing something right because a lot of them came back.
Yeah, I think ultimately those kids fit. They fit Miami. They fit me. They fit our program, the culture. I think they like the trend that they are on development wise. Mm-hmm. And to what Coach Senderoff just said, like the experience factor is so important, right? This is a great league. And we get to play at a lot of great venues, a lot of great players. I mean, this is high level basketball, Mm-hmm. And listen, we're not naive. Coach Senderoff or I to say that our guys aren't getting approached probably by agents and other schools. But I just have transparent conversations, try to, with our young men and their families. Just talk to them about it and just say, hey, listen, I want to be out in the open and I want to do what's best for our guys. Truly, I do at the end of the day, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. But the grass isn't always greener. On the other side, there's a million examples of that, throughout the country, whether that's college football right now or college basketball. We think we have a pretty special place where we are, and I don't want to have to beg anybody to stay here.
Yeah.
If they don't want to be here, no problem. I want people to want to be here.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be in a relationship, I want it to be two-way. It's not one way.
Yeah. And both those. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the schools, I mean, your two schools, example, are great schools, great campuses. I mean, I've been to both. I've been to Parents' Day at Parents' Weekend in Miami, Ohio, about 10, 15 years ago. But they're both good schools, well regarded. So with that being said, and very good programs, how difficult has scheduling been this year, maybe more so than other years? Because it just seems like with the Power Fives, with the quad this and the quad that, how difficult has it been to schedule this past year?
Well, Coach Senderoff, I'll let you talk on this one because you guys, listen, we've been in a different boat. We should have had a line around the block to schedule us. That's how bad we've been the last couple of years. Coach Senderoff, though, on the other hand, when I was at Xavier, we played. But I would tell you that a lot of teams would be apprehensive to play Kent State because of the success that Coach has had there, right? I mean, not just calling a spade, and am I right in saying that, Coach?
Yeah, and the formula, I think the formula doesn't always benefit those programs to play us. So, it's not incentivized for them to play, a program that's rated somewhere, let's just say 75 to 175. Like it's just not, it's not set up for those programs for a Power Five school to want to play us. And certainly, I mean, no one in our league is getting a Power Five school to come play at their venue. I don't think I can't remember the last one. It happens, once a decade, maybe you get, something like that, because again, the risk involved and the money involved from, what their gate is, Xavier, Ohio State, the Big Ten schools, they need those home games. So they're not going to come play at our place. And then getting them to choose to play you when it really may or may not benefit them, I can understand why those are hard games. And then what you're set up to do is play a lot of schools that are like yourself. Our league put together this Sun Belt Challenge, which, whether we as coaches like the travel or not, it's not easy for us. Sometimes those schools are hard to get to.
Good conference, though. Great conference basketball.
Good games. And to be able to play Trav, I don't know who you play to start. Louisiana Lafayette is who we play to start.
We got App State.
App State, really
Bobby Marlin, Coach Kearns, know him well. Great people, great team too.
Not easy. Like,
Nope.
I may not agree. Hey, I'll go start at your place. Or last year we played at Troy and we had James Madison come to us.
Yeah.
I don't know that James Madison would have wanted to come play at Kenton.
Great game. That was a great freaking game.
Yeah, it was an awesome game, except for the last 5 seconds.
Well, I understand that, but it was still a great game.
I've had a couple awesome games, except for the last 5 seconds of them.
I know.
But great games, like great games, and good opportunities for your players and good opportunities for your fans when you get that game. And those games are hard to get to. So scheduling, because I actually do the schedule here, and I've done it for, whatever, the whole time that I've been here, assistant head coach, like it's just gone longer and longer in your ability to get the same game you're going to get, because everybody wants to know who's on your roster.
Yep.
That used to be decided in maybe even November or March. Oh, who's returning?
Yep.
Now that's not decided until June. Then you've got the dates, and then you've got some of these leagues that are adding conference games and adding challenges. Big Ten, for example, plays whatever other leagues and challenges. So then you've got your MTEs. There's limited games, limited dates, and it's harder and harder to get. So, like, to me, I wish our league would play more games, just because I think it would make it easier for everybody.
And it seems like conferences are kind of moving. Sorry to cut you off, Coach. Are kind of moving toward that model. Instead of playing 16, playing 18, it's 18 playing 20. And it's funny. I'm laughing because we had Coach Gillespie, Billy Gillespie from Tarleton State. So we interviewed him like in September at some point. He did not release his roster, and we didn't know his schedule. I swear to God. So we're talking. So tell us about your team, Coach. It's like, so who do you play this year? Well, we're working on it. We had coaches in September that still hadn't filled all their dates yet.
Yeah, that's happened here before as well. It's happened before. Yeah.
But you know what? I like some of the games. Like I look at last year, and I know Coach Senderoff, we talked a little before. That Charleston game was awesome. Coach Steele, that Vermont game that you played was awesome. I mean, we've had Coach Becker a couple times, and I'm starting to see more of the mid-majors, high mid-majors, like, San Francisco, they're playing, Memphis, they're playing Boise State, they're playing Bradley, they're playing Loyola, they're playing more of those like teams. But what's going to happen? Is it going to help you down the road? When it comes to, I guess, it's really all comes down to that weekend in March, getting you prepared for that, right?
Well, as far as the tournament goes, the NCAA tournament, you have to, you have to be in the top 8 in our league to be in Cleveland. And then, those 3 games determine the NCAA tournament. But again, that's part of the problem with our sport to some degree, especially at our level, is, it's all judged on if you go to the NCAA tournament. And again, just using football as an analogy, certainly in the MAC, if you finish above 500 or at 500 in football in the league, you've had a very successful year, and you're going to a bowl game, which is celebrated as it should be, because it's great for your fan base. It's great for your student athletes. It's great for your football program. And unfortunately, in basketball, there's one bid, there's 12 teams, there's about to be 13 teams in our league, assuming there's no other movement. And, think, 6 out of 12 football teams experience success getting to a bowl game. 1 out of 12 or 13 experience quote unquote success by making the NCAA tournament. And that's just not realistic, because there's a lot of different successes that take place over the course of the year. And I would just, again, because Coach Steele's on here, I would look at the growth of his team from last year to the first year to the past year, and say, boy, what an unbelievably successful year they had. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, did you lose in the first round? You lost in the first round of the tournament, but that was a successful season for them. So we have to do a better job, in my opinion, of defining what success is. And it can't just be the NCAA tournament at this level, because it's just too hard.
Well, I think it's also interesting too, and we don't need to get down there. So the week that the NIT proposed their changes, we had your commissioner, Coach Steinbrecher, on the podcast or on the show. We've since had Coach Jones from Norfolk State. I mean, you see what he did. Didn't make the NCAA tournament. They lost in I think the conference tournament final. Didn't make the NIT. You know, you look at Coach Kulzwalczyk from Toledo, won the regular season last 3 years. And I remember talking to him after he lost in the end, the MAC tournament right after. I said, "You going to get in the NIT?" He's like, "Nope." And guess what happened a week later? I mean, how can you go 20-12 and you don't even get into the NIT?
Yeah, I hate that personally. The NIT,
It's dumb.
I think it's crazy that they changed it.
And then you had
You won the
7
regular season title and you don't qualify for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but you have
should
7.
go to the
Yeah, but you
NIT.
have 7 teams that Power 5 schools that said, we're not going to play.
Yeah.
Right. And again, we all, understand, because at that level, if your top 9 teams make the NCAA tournament, coming in 10th place or 11th place, is not what you'd say is successful relative to what you're looking for and hoping for. So I can understand why they don't sometimes want to play in the NIT. But for us at our level and our leagues, like, those are awesome opportunities to play national television games, a national tournament with tremendous history. And that rule, I think, was last year, the first year. Yeah, no longer guaranteed. So, again, they're not asking Travis or myself what our opinions are when they're making those decisions.
Right.
So,
Right.
nor are they asking you. But
not yet. They're going to ask me, though.
Maybe one day.
That's going to be one of my grandstands this year, Coach, because here's the thing. You had 4 teams in your conference, okay? One of those 4 teams made it to the NCAA tournament, was Akron. Got 20 wins. Both your teams, both Kent State and Miami, Ohio, a couple bounces here and there, you got 20 wins. I mean, same with Central Michigan. And how many teams made a postseason tournament out of those 4 teams?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something wrong there. I'm sorry. I mean, and I'm not trying to start anything or whatever, but it's unfortunate. So anything I can do, just let me know. I got a lot of anger.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's basketball.
Yeah.
So let's do this. What do you think? What can you guys what are your kind of impressions of the MAC this year? I mean, there's been some turnover. There's been some retention. There's some really good players coming back or into the league. What is your guys' kind of prediction or kind of preview of what to expect? More of the same, just great basketball?
Trav?
I would tell you, man, this is obviously going into year 3 for me here. The coaching in our league's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's really, really good coaches. Obviously, Coach Senderoff. My brother's just okay over there at Akron. I'm just kidding. I don't want him listening to this and then get a text from him. Coach Kowalczyk, what he's done there at Toledo has just been incredible. I mean, it's incredible. Bowls at Ohio. I mean, Michael Lewis. I mean, what Tony Barbee did last year at Central Michigan. I mean, he burnt everybody. Everybody's a good coach in our league. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have that, you're going to be strong year to year, even in the current landscape that we have. Because I believe there's only one all-league player back from last year, or maybe two from the all-league teams, just due to the transfer portal. But I do know this: there's a lot of new guys. There's going to be a lot of really good transfers. Some good transfers, some guys with big reputations that maybe don't hit as well. I don't think we'll know probably until conference, but I do think our league will be really strong. I would venture to say that it's going to be much better than it was last year. Would be my gut, and just kind of looking at rosters across the board.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I mean, everything he said, I would agree with, because hard to predict. They asked us to, I don't know if you handed your ballot in, Trav, but they asked us to, rank the teams 1 through 12.
That's my daughter, so I apologize.
You're fine.
Hard to rank them, and hard to give who you think the top 10 players are in the league, because there's just so many incoming players that you're just not 100% sure who's what. I mean, until you see them. So, but like Travis said, there's a lot of really good coaches and a lot of really proud basketball programs in our league. So if you're not ready to go, we play Tuesdays and Saturdays. Like, if you're not ready to go on a Tuesday night, you're probably not going to win that game regardless of who you play against. And, to me, that's the making of what a good conference is about.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you look at some of these transfers. I mean, Coach, you've got Antoine Wolfork from Rutgers coming in. You see Rutgers. I mean, especially now they got one of the top recruiting classes. You're like the instant success. But then Coach Senderoff, you got a kid named Marquise Barnett who averaged about 16 a game at Presbyterian in the Big South. I mean, just because or some of these other guys like Bowling Green has 2 division or JUCO and players in a Division 2 or Division 2 player. I mean, they scored like 27 points a game. As we're seeing, you just never know. I mean, if it's going to translate into those years. So, I mean, doing these preseason picks, it's kind of comical.
Yeah, and I think the thing you learn is, man, there's players everywhere. There's really good basketball at D2.
Oh, basketball's in a great spot talent-wise.
I mean, there's so many players at the D3 level, NAIA, JUCO. I mean, there's so many good players out there. And and that's why I said, like, you can do it a million different ways. You can have guys transfer down from the high major leagues, the Power 5 or Power 6, whatever you want to call it in basketball. And you can have guys transfer up from like a D2. I think there's always players out there, and I think you got to find guys that fit and that you trust and that fit the way that you play and fit your culture. So it fits everything.
Yeah, I would agree. So we do a little thing called the Shot Clock. Coach Steele, you know a little bit about this. It's all going to be all related to the MAC just because we're talking to the MAC. So both of you guys just answer. If it leads to a little bit longer story or whatever, go right at it. So one word to describe the MAC.
I'd say competitive.
I was going to say toughness. Yeah.
That's what every coach asks, I feel like, is competitive, which I think every conference is competitive nowadays. I mean, it means more to in your conference. Biggest misconception of MAC basketball?
Man, that's a hard one. Cindy, you got
Yeah, I was waiting on you because that's I don't know what the perception is. I think, I think the fact that we're in the Big Ten shadow sometimes, hurts us a little bit. We don't quite get the publicity, in my opinion, even that other mid majors get. The CAA or the Missouri Valley or the MAAC. Like, I feel like our league deserves more publicity on a national level. There have been guys drafted 4 straight years out of our league, 4 straight years, guys drafted in the NBA. But we just don't seem to get that national publicity. And I sort of feel like it's because we're in the shadow of the Big Ten. 6 of our league schools are in the state of Ohio. So I think there's that would be my, what's the misperception, I guess.
It's funny you say that because my father-in-law used to be the team doctor for Akron football or Akron athletics. And I'd go to these football games 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago. And you go to these games, there's more people wearing Ohio State stuff than there were Akron stuff. Right. And that used to like really irk me. And I'm not even an Akron graduate. I'm like, you know what? I just find that, but
that irks me too. It irks me. I got neighbors who didn't go to Ohio State, have no kids that go to Ohio State, that claim Ohio State football as their team. Well, no, it's not, man.
No.
Well, did you hear Heidelberg's your football team?
You know what Michigan and Ohio State fans have in common?
What is that?
Neither of them went to Ohio State.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You like that, Coach Steele?
I like that. That's good.
That really irks people. So, okay. I just got a text. Enrique Freeman's coming back to Akron. That's amazing. Hardest place to play in the MAC. What's the rowdiest, kind of craziest place to play? I mean, I know you're going to say every game or the next game, but is there one in particular? Because, I mean, I asked Coach Steele, what some people have ever said to him. He says he doesn't pay attention. And then we talked about what would drive him nuts. So I'm not going to tell you, Coach Senderoff, because it might drive him nuts.
I would say for us, I'd say for us, probably Ohio U.
Yeah.
Just probably due to the rivalry.
Yeah. And same here. I would say Akron for us. I mean, both the gyms have been sold out for 20 plus years,
Awesome.
and every game nationally televised for 20 plus years. So
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah. I was at the game at Kent State with Akron, and unfortunately it didn't fall your way, coach, but it was I was on the floor and it was raucous. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun. And that's what that's what college basketball is all about. So it's good to see that. Which coach has the best shoe game?
Not me. That I can say for sure. It's not me.
Man,
I might say, and again, I don't know, but I might say Jeff Bowles, just because I think of Coach Bowles as being somebody who enjoys, wearing nice shoes. So I'm going to go with Coach Bowles on that one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Coach George up at Buffalo. Coach G. Yeah.
Okay. This one's going to be an interesting one. Most animated coach in the MAC on the sidelines.
Who's that one, Trav? Do you know?
Man, I'm trying to think. I'm going through everybody.
I'm going to go with Mike Lewis. That's who I'm going to say, from Ball State. Played for Coach Knight.
I like that.
So I'm going to go with that. Obviously, my face gets red. So does his.
Yeah.
And he's got a big bald head and face that get really animated and angry at times.
He tried to get tossed last year at our place. So, he tried me. It wouldn't toss him. So I'd probably put Michael Lewis in there. I like that.
How would you rate your brother? Because I've seen your brother get pretty fired up.
You know what? He's really again, you should have seen him 20 years ago. I mean, he was insane. He's really tempered. I mean, it's way better. He's tempered it way down.
Yeah.
Over the years, I think. But
yeah. Okay.
But he's more high strung as well.
Okay. Best MAC conference official.
I love them all. They're all watching. I love them all.
Yeah, I like that answer.
The senator, Senator Senderoff right here.
A lot of good officials in our league, especially when they're officiating Kent Miami games. We got a lot of good ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I watched Bradley play against Akron, and the fans were going nuts. And I said, "Hey, welcome to the MAC," and the people were like laughing at me. But no, it's not really a loaded question. There's some people that get some shout outs. We've had some coaches say that there's no good officials, so whatever. Which team had the most team fouls called against them in the MAC last year? Little MAC trivia.
Man, that's a good question. Seemed like we fouled a lot. At least we got called. I don't think we ever foul, and I feel like we get called a lot for fouls. We're probably up there. I mean, Kent State, you guys are super aggressive on the ball, man. That's what I always tell the officials. It's like, listen, they're aggressive. We're not.
Show our hands. Show our hands. I'm gonna guess the answer to that is Northern Illinois.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Kent State, 17.9.
There you go.
Hey, guess who was third? Miami of Ohio was 17.3.
Yep. We're up there.
Who fouled the least in your conference?
Toledo?
I would guess. I'm going to go with. I got two guesses. I'm going to say Central Michigan or Eastern Michigan.
Nope.
No.
Toledo
Central plays zone, so that's
nope. Ball State, 15.1.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So they're doing a Hollywood movie about the MAC coaches. What would the movie be called?
You should have given us these questions ahead of time.
Nope. I never give questions.
I would just say the never-ending bus ride is what I'd call it. The never-ending.
Taking off the never-ending story.
Yeah, the never-ending bus ride. We're a bus league. We take some long trips, like that trip from Miami of Ohio. They played us at our place. They won. That was a happy bus trip back. When you don't win that game on the road, that's a long,
miserable.
I've been on them on both ends, coaching and playing, and when you lose, it's like we're gonna eat on the bus, and we're just gonna keep going, and it's like no one's supposed to say anything. You know what movie you could actually be called is Bull Durham.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Like that.
Yeah, meet Someone could be meat, and you're always on the buses. So you won nothing, you got nothing, and I think the Senator is still okay. But last question that Sam always asks to kind of wrap it up. Each of you coaches go. We'll have Coach Senderoff go first. Kind of tell your fans, your boosters, your alumni what to expect this year from Kent State, and then Coach Steele, you'll do the same for the Red Hawks.
Listen, I think we're going to have a really fun year. I think that it's the conference play is awesome always. We got a good non-conference schedule. We've got a lot of seniors and upperclassmen, and I'm really excited about the year ahead. And I think it's going to be a good time to come to the MAC Center and enjoy the atmosphere here that the MAC Center invites, and can't wait for us to get started.
Yeah, awesome. Coach Steele. Actually, Coach Steele, who's your decorator?
Amanda Steele is, not me. I can tell you that. No, I'm excited about our team. I think we'll take another big step forward this year. I would anticipate. I would hope. Our guys. I think what our fans will see is a really, really connected group of a team. Our guys get along really, really, really well off the court, and I think that really shows itself on the court. And we're going to play hard. Listen, that's what I tell those guys all the time, man. As long as we're the most connected team, hardest playing team, that's the team that usually wins. I mean, because to Coach's point earlier, anybody can beat anybody in this league. There's going to be a lot of close games and highly contested games throughout the MAC, and you got to bring it every single night. So I just want our fans to be able to enjoy us, get behind us, man, and get in old Millette Hall. It's been around since the Stone Ages, and let's keep building this program up, because we're trying to get up into that upper echelon of the MAC. Listen, Kent State's been there, has been there for a while. Ohio. You think of the Toledos, Akrons. We got to get in that mix, and this is a big year for us to hopefully get into that mix of those teams.
Yeah. You're knocking on the door. So, coaches, you're going to stick on 1 second while we upload, but thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Listeners, please check out Kent State in Miami, Ohio, and just MAC basketball in general. It's going to be another great year. It's great basketball. It's fast-paced, high IQ, great coaches. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Smash that like button or subscribe button on the YouTube channel if you're watching us. We'll be back with another conference preview of the Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience.